Important thing is to surmount those challenges and come out strong.
Problems have been resolved.
We've solved our challenges.
All right. Adila Adiwali, thank you very much for coming on the program and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have more on the BVAS machine. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it. Use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Let's continue our conversation now on INEC and the BVAS controversy, and now being joined on the program by Ade Atobatele, who is an ICT expert. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let me quickly ask you what you make of this controversy surrounding the BVAS. And I mean, with what happened, the way things went in the presidential election, would you say it has in any way tainted the functionality of the BVAS and its importance in our elections?
Technically, the BVAS operated exactly as it was asked to do. Unfortunately, for reasons best known to INEC, sometimes passwords were not given, maybe the GSM network did not connect, for whatever reason, but the BVAS itself did the job that it was asked to do. It was asked to accredit people biometrically. It did that. It was asked to take photographs of signed papers by polling officers and returning officers. It did that, and it eventually got the information back to INEC. It may not have got it back to INEC immediately, but those were not problems with the BVAS. Those were problems with external things.
So in this case, I mean, people may just be getting the whole thing wrong because everyone has just been blaming the BVAS.
Nothing wrong with BVAS. What was wrong with procedures? Procedures are human. They're manual. They're things that you give people. You give people a password to log onto a machine. If you can't log onto the machine, you can't blame the machine. If the network isn't there, you can't blame the machine. If you have not stress tested your system, you cannot blame the machine. You have to blame your procedures. The things that went wrong were human things. There is nothing wrong with BVAS. In fact, BVAS has done us a great favor because it started for the first time at the polling booth. We were able to catch overvoting. BVAS worked exactly as it was asked to do. If we don't provide it with the necessary things for it to do what it is supposed to do, that is not BVAS's fault. That is our manual fault. That is a failure from procedure, from standard operating procedure.
Now, from your observation of what happened, especially during the presidential election, do you think it was more, I mean, you know, the glitches which we saw now was more of a human error than that of machine?
As I said before, if you don't give the polling officer a password to log in, that is nothing wrong with the BVAS. That means that your procedures for moving the password on the day were incorrect. There will be places around the country whereby the GSM network might fail. But let me put it this way. A BVAS machine cannot stay for more than 24 hours outside an INEC office. And all INEC offices are connected via a local area network. So there has been rumor that people are saying that the reason that we could not upload was either the network was bad or there was a cyber attack. Within that 24-hour period after the election, every single BVAS machine must have come back to its originating office, and then it would have logged onto a local area network, which is a very fast network, and all that information would have gone up immediately. There would have been no reason within a 24-hour period for all that information not to have got onto the right servers.
But what do you think could have happened in this case?
Well, only INEC can tell us that, and that's where the problem is, because INEC now wants to wipe the machines. Let me put it this way: the BVAS machines contain two sets of information. They have the accredited voters, how those people voted, and the pictures of the returning office that the returning officer signed. But it also has a technical log that says, I tried to contact INEC this way. I tried to use this network to do that. I didn't have a password, or somebody put in a bad password, all of that. Now, the appeal court has said that INEC should provide a certified true copy of the polling data. And INEC now wants to wipe the machine, and that will include wiping the technical data that will give us the information as to why the system failed in the first place. And that is where the real problem was.
But of course, INEC has said whatever it is backed up in its server, that it's backed up in its back-end server, and that's what it told the court, and the court gave the approval on the basis of that.
That is not true, and I'll explain it this way. There are two sets of information. I'll repeat that: two sets of information. INEC is being very truthful in saying that it has backed up all the polling data. But what INEC is not saying is that it has not backed up the log data from the machine. That log data is the sort of thing that says, I made a phone call, the phone call did not go through. I made it at this particular time. I used this base station. I was at this GPS location, etc., etc. That information is not part of INEC backing up the server. So we will lose all the forensic data we need to know that could be used to explain as to why the system didn't work on that day. That is completely different from the polling data, which INEC has backed up from the BVAS machines by now. In fact, we're seeing that information on the IREF portal now.
Now, would you say, would it be wrong to say probably we were too quick to deploy technology now for our election, especially with the BVAS? Because I covered the election myself, and I saw a lot of INEC staff struggle with the operation of the machine.
The problem that we have with INEC is who is going to actually deploy who's going to use these machines on behalf of INEC on the day, and how much training are they given? We use ad hoc staff. Sometimes they're youth hoppers, sometimes they're university people, sometimes they're various. We really need a dedicated set of people that are trained properly to use this thing, not just over a 24-hour period. Anybody can make mistakes. Even the most genius of people can make mistakes if they're not trained properly. And I think that's really what happens. INEC uses these people, and they haven't trained them for longer than 24 hours, 48 hours, definitely not for up to a week or a month. And that's really what you need to have. We wouldn't use these sort of people in a bank. We wouldn't use them in an oil field. Why are we expecting a technical capability from people without being trained properly?
All right. Mr. Ade Atobatele, an ICT expert, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
There's one more thing that I'd like to say, if you have time, right? We're making a very big deal about the presidential election, but we need to remember that there were 109 senatorial elections and 360 representative elections.
Yes.
Those people are also going to have their data lost, because they have not gone to court yet to ask for their own certified copies. And that when they do petition tribunals, that's the information that they're going to need. They're now going to have to depend upon INEC. The new electoral law says that if you're doing a petition, INEC has to be joined. That means that you are suing INEC to get this election overturned. And the information that you need to sue INEC is sitting with INEC. That's like leaving all your chickens with a fox.
Well, that's how it's always been anyway.
Oh, well, then if that is the case, then the appeal court need not have asked both APC, Labour, and PDP, and whoever went to court to be able to get a certified true copy. The appeal court understands that it needs the original data, and so that's why they gave them the ability to get the certified true copies. In fact, it ordered INEC to give leave so.